Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about putting down a floor graphic that you might want to put down in front of your front door or somewhere else in your building. We're going to talk about how to install these things. And you know, before we start, you might want to know a couple of things about these graphics. They're made out of aluminum, so when you get done with them and you decide you want to toss them, just throw them in the garbage. You can put them in with your aluminum cans. You see they're made out of aluminum, almost an aluminum foil. And because of that, you're going to find that sometimes when they come in shipping, you can see some little creases and bends here in this particular graphic. It's just like tinfoil when you put it around a baked potato, you know, they're going to have a little crease here and there, but it's all going to come out when we roller it down and put it down onto our substrate. So let's prepare our surface. You got to have a really deep cleaning. Just kidding. All you need to do is sweep where you're going to put it down. Make sure that there's no debris there, little rocks or anything like that. Let's try to get that stuff out of the way. And you can tell where I'm going to put this one down, there is a place where the sidewalk is joined together. So you're going to have a crease here, and that's okay. We're going to deal with that when we get to it. Makes it a little bit more difficult, but not a whole lot. And you don't have to be an expert to put these things down, as you can see. In fact, I made one video series where I let my first grader put it down, and he did a really good job too. It's easy and it stays down. That's the beautiful part about it. And we're going to take our graphic and we're going to position it where we want it. In this case, we want to center it obviously between the door, and we also want to pick a line where we can straighten it out same distance all the way across to make sure that this thing is going to look straight and kind of be framed in with the doorway here. That looks about like what I want it to look like. So now I'm going to go to one end of this thing, and I'm going to peel back the backing from the graphic itself all the way across. Notice my knees are sitting on this thing. I'm holding it in place. Sometimes this paper is going to tear a little bit, but we want to get a whole piece all the way across so that we can pull it uniformly. Just peeling back that backing. Can you see where I'm trying to peel that back all the way across uniformly? I don't know if uniformly is a word. Uniformly. You can see it's got some little. Can you see some little bends forming here in the aluminum itself, and that's okay. Just going to keep this peeled back all in one line. You'll see why that's important. All in one big line. Good. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put that end down. Stretching it this way to make sure that this line is straight. Now I'll press it down with my thumbs, and then all the way across that end. You can see a little bit of lines here, and that's okay. We're going to grab our roller. Now these rollers are available at Home Depot or any of your hardware stores. It's just a rubber roller. Alright. I'm going to burnish that end down a little bit, pushing it down into the substrate. This concrete here is great. This stuff is great because you can use it outside. You're going to feel your graphic. You can feel it has some little glass beads in it. It's going to pass your slip test, so you don't have to worry about a customer walking over the top. Okay, so now what we're going to do is kind of flip the graphic back over. We'll start to pull our backing off from underneath. See how we're doing that? And what that's going to do is keep us on a good straight line. Work it from the middle, kind of down and out, and pushing the air out from underneath something like that. Okay? Keep going a little bit further. Eventually, we can just turn this thing over toward us and see what we're doing. In the middle, down and outward. And it's kind of a sweeping motion. Just not trying to make it stick forever here. We're just trying to get it in place with no bubbles underneath. Okay, now we're coming to our part where we've got our indention, where the two pieces are being joined together. So we get there, we're going to go slowly to that point. And we're going to make that indention. Pressing it down into the groove. Pressing it down into that groove. We're going to let it adhere down in that groove. And this way, if somebody came along with a high heel and they were to step in that groove, they wouldn't punch a hole in the graphic and then cause it to look bad. We're going to go ahead and push it down into that groove there so that if somebody comes along, that's already in that groove and will punch through. So now, keep bringing it back, almost there. Again, pushing the air out in the middle in kind of a V formation this way. You're not taking big, huge gaps here. I'm taking maybe 5 inches, 4 inches at a time, pulling back. See the distance? In from the middle, outward. Continuing pushing that air out. Another 4 or 5 inches to go. And then at the end, same thing. Just pull it all the way through. From the middle, out in a V, just like that. Now, it's stuck down pretty good. If you were to walk away, you'd probably be okay. But I always like to take the roller and just go over the whole thing, and you'll see some of these little places where there was a little extra air in there, or a little place where it wasn't all the way down in the substrate. You'll see it go down and form to whatever is underneath it. Now you want to make sure that the most critical place is the edges, because you don't want any water to seep underneath when it rains or whatever. But there's no cure time. You're not going to have to wait. Once you get this thing down, it's ready to be walked on, driven on. Continuing to burnish that down all over my graphic. One good time. Make sure one more time with my fingers down in this crevice, in this void, that it's all down, having a good connection, a good adhesion of the substrate in that void. Looks good. That's how we do it.
Denko Masuka numi horonya ye